searching for human values in the depths of the universe. Finding a generally acceptable basis for a moral principle is a difficult task. In order to avoid these difficulties, I propose that we shouldn't ask ourselves what we ought and ought not to do, but what is reasonable and meaningful to do. Taking the question of our morality out of the realm of religions and into the realm of practitionalities avoids Hume's is-ought fallacy and the problem of whose God we are supposed to obey. When we do that, we will no longer ask what we ought or ought not to do, but whether what we are doing is true or false, meaningful or meaningless, authentic or inauthentic, and wholesome and or making us sick. What I like to propose is that a moral life is a matter of prudence. Moral life is a matter of prudence. Take as a simple example the question whether it can be meaningful to live a life that is in conflict with the nature of reality. If you have a view of the world that isn't in agreement with the nature of the world, then that view is wrong. If you follow principles of the life that are in conflict with the nature of the world, then these principles are wrong too. Why would anybody wants to live such a life? Similarly, can't it be good for your heroes to live in a state of the constant stress, always ready to attack and bite the next person in a selfish life that isn't focused on the wholeness of reality?
Massive thank you for all the love and support to everybody out there who's supported the show, the channel, whichever way, you know. Shout out to Mark, of course, at Long Island Watch, my friend John, there's Matthew, there's Bill, there's Vi, who else? Oh, Chad, there's so many of you. Marco, my good friend Marco, out there as well, who, you know, they all pitch in, and I could not do it without you. But of course, my beautiful wife, I mean, it goes without saying, right? Absolutely. And all my family overseas, sono sempre pensando di te. Un abbraccio forte forte, stai bene. Everybody who consistently comments, and now YouTube actually shows who leaves likes and who, you know, interacts the most, and there's just so many of you. It does not go unnoticed. I try and reply to as many comments as I can, but guys, just that consistency, that's you guys keep coming back, and this is why I do it, you know, this sharing my hobby, but also interacting with you guys. It's an enormous pleasure and an honor, it really is. And hopefully in the future I'll get to meet a lot more of you in events that we'll be doing around the globe, so I'm very excited. Stay tuned for that. So in the meantime, I'm going to share with you my watch collecting goals for 2021. I still can't get used to even saying those words, but
World ethos is a system of principle of conduct, that process that only a life that is in harmony with the order of reality is meaningful or true. In the view of the holistic nature of the world, such life is a wholesome life. If the background of the universe is mind-like, we can trust that it can actualize moral principle inside us in the same way in which it actualizes the material structures outside. Thousands of years ago, living in harmony with the order of the world wasn't considered a natural fallacy, but an accepted principle of Greek philosophy. Around 300 BCE, Zeno of Citium arrived in Athens from the Cyprus and founded the school of the Stoics, which was to become a school of great influence in the history of the Western philosophy. From Cyprus, wow. In Zeno's philosophy, A fundamental principle of the ethics is to live in accordance with nature, as Michael Hauskeller describes it in his inspiring book on the history of the ethics. And with this, Zeno didn't mean only our own nature, but also the nature of the universe. The ancient Greeks had a moral tradition that connected to the concept of the virtue with the development of the defining property of a thing. Within this tradition, as Hoskar explains, virtue meant to achieve the value-based state of a thing. There is a Greek term for this kind of general excellence, arete. In the context of our current understanding of virtue, the concept of arete at first sight seems to be missing the point. For example, you can apply the Greek principle to something such as a knife, and then you can say that the virtue of a knife is to be sharp. Similarly, you can apply it to an athlete, and then the virtue is to be strong. So this understanding of arete seems to be more like the definition of a skill or a utility rather than a moral property. But when Zeno applies this principle to our human nature, the rules that follows were moral rules and a matter of human reason. To Zeno, acting within the Greek tradition, the question of human virtue came down to the determining what the defining property of human being is. Our most characteristic property, Zeno said, is our reason. If there is anything that defines who you are, it is your ability to think and to think reasonably. Therefore, to develop our reason to its fullest power is our moral duty and the basis of our moral life. It is needless to say that in order to develop our reason, we must live in harmony with the principle of reason. At this point, Zeno made an amazing turn to the cosmic. Even though it is our essence, he said, reason isn't the achievement of human beings, but a gift on loan from the universe. A gift on loan from the universe. Reason is to Zeno how Schafer explains a world principle which in human beings rises to the level of reality when it does rise to reality. The gift brings with it an obligation, a task that has to be fulfilled. Reason is like a seed that has been planted in us. You have to see it, that this seed will grow. Since your reason is an essential part of your potential, it is your obligation and the divine will in you to strive for the arete or best possible actualization of your reason. The divine will in you is at the same time your own will. It is that the same cosmic principle in you that we have encountered in this book in the connection with the quantum phenomena. Your thinking is the thinking of the cosmic spirit in you. Really? Haha.
For me particularly has been all about Casio, and it's simply the fun factor. My little Mission Impossible Casio is probably one of the most fun watches I've bought this year, and I absolutely adore it. I am going to buy a date just because I miss them. I've had so many, I've had my eye, and I'm not going to share which one it is because I don't want somebody to snap it up before I do, but it's a very particular dial I've never owned before. And going back and learning about the history of the Yachtmaster kind of made me appreciate the date just because, of course, they share roots. You know, the Thunderbird and all of that. So, but next year, definitely Yachtmaster, definitely. What else is on my list? Let's have a look here. Yeah, I'm not really pining after the Royal Oak anymore. My long-term goal is still the Romain Gaultier Insight Micro Rotor. I will always love that watch. I'm going to buy that for my 40th, I think, which is, I don't know how old I am. I was born in 83, so you're just going to have to figure it out, but I'm definitely close.
You are born 1903, really?
Yeah, it's. I've got some time to save up. That watch is perfection. And
really?
And Gaultier, Insight Micro Rotor. I will always love that watch. I'm going to buy that for my 40th, I think, which is...
40s.
I can't even... I don't know how old I am. I was born in 83, so you're just going to have to figure it out.
Really? 93?
I'm closer to 40 than I am to 30, so... Yeah, it's. I've got some time to save up. That watch is perfection, and of course the connection with visiting the factory.
93?
Buy the watchmaker.
Really?
Name of the brand. You don't get to see Lange rising from the grave and making you a watch, you know. So that was.
It was clear to Zeno that this structure of the world defines a commitment that we have. As Michael Hauskeller described it. It was Zeno's view that the first duty of every human being is to live in accordance with the nature of the universe. If you live in accordance with reason, you live in harmony with nature. Our natures are part of the world whole, Zeno writes. Therefore, the final goal is a life in accordance with nature. That is, a life in accordance with our own nature as well as the nature of the universe. Such a life leads to a commitment and the duty. Hauskeller cites Zeno's reasoning because in such a life, one understands nothing, which is a world reason. Really, the general law would forbid. Step by step, Zeno's argument can be combined with our own. The virtuous life is in harmony with reason. But reason must be understood as a cosmic principle of which the human reason is a part. The existence of a cosmic reason must mean that the universe is a process that has meaning. We don't know what that meaning is because it is hidden in the trans-empirical realm of the world. But you must think that you are a part of this process and that turning against the cosmic task is the same as turning against your own nature. Thus, living in harmony with nature doesn't mean only your personal nature but also the nature of the universe or, as Zeno writes, the nature of the all-pervading world reason, which is law to all things. Living a life guided by a reason isn't only in accordance with human nature, but, as Hauskeller concludes, in harmony with the nature of the cosmos. Every time I think of Zeno, I have the feeling of the mystery. Thousands of years ago, this Greek philosopher came up with a view of ethics that appeared in my own mind a long time before I had ever heard of Zeno. In connection with the phenomena of the quantum physics, when I was writing In Search of Divine Reality. These views are not common or ordinary. Many people may find them strange. Physicist Stanley Crane, for example, comments, Schafer's discussion of cosmic morality and hope goes overboard for my taste. Critics, right?
Interesting, but so it's a special place to me. What else? Oh, rumours of a Flight E2. Yeah, the Flight Master 2. Now, of course, probably not true, but as Seiko holds all the cards always so close to their chest. But wouldn't that be nice? A Flight Master 2, if it happens, please. I hope it's a decent size. That's where I'm going. I think that's a pretty long enough list to keep me.
Socrates believed that to live in accordance with the essence of thing is the basis of moral life. Since it is hard to live in accordance with the essence of something that you don't understand, developing an understanding of the world is one of your most important tasks. This is exactly what the quantum phenomena help you to do.
Are you purging? Are you just going mad? Probably going to be purging my collection and then going on a shopping spree. That's what usually happens, right? Maybe you're the same way, maybe you're content. Let me know in the comments. Anyway guys, have a wonderful, happy holidays. Please stay safe, and I will catch you sometime in January. I'll be back in January, alright? So hopefully not too long, but I'll catch you then.